Hi everyone, I'm Suseel Menon. I'm a practice director here at Everest Group, and with me I also have Mansi, who's also practice director with the data and AI team here at Everest Group. Today, what we wanted to do is expand on the governance week that we've been running and deep dive into a few of the governance concepts that we've been exploring. We also wanted to, dive a little bit deeper in each of the elements of governance itself, right? So, Mansi, why don't we get started and, help our sort of, viewers understand what is governance really about, right? What are the core elements that we talk about when we think of governance?
Yeah, so creating a strong data governance layer is not easy. It depends a lot on the context of the enterprise. It has a lot of twists and turns, and we have seen so many enterprises getting lost in trying to navigate which tool will benefit which use case and what does it even mean for the enterprise. But if I have to talk about the four principles where most of these governance tools align, then for me, that would be one, discoverability. So making sure that tech and non-tech users can find the data they need. Catalogs help with this, and we have a lot of research planned for it in 2025.
Yep. And the interesting bit over there is essentially that, you know, a lot has been influenced by the adoption of generative AI as well, right? So if you think of discoverability, earlier it was more about just understanding and having access to it, but now it's more about what all kinds of data can I actually, interact with, metadata can I interact with, right? So that's become a big thing. But in general as well, I think accessibility and giving the right set of stakeholders, both technical and business, is really becoming a big priority for enterprises as well, right? And that's there's an element of catalog as well that plays over there. But Mansi, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so accessibility, which governs over who has access to what data, it's becoming very important as and when the number of users are increasing and the amount of data is also increasing. And very closely related is the third principle of security. So is the data secure? Is it prone to malicious attacks? And there are so many security, privacy, and compliance related tools in the market which target these accessibility and security principles together. Now, the fourth and probably the broadest and most important principle nowadays would be about quality. So ensuring that the data you're using is actually reliable, it's accurate, it's consistent, it's up to date. And we're seeing so much movement in this space through the MDM and observability tools and even somewhat of catalogs, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think there is a whole sphere of tools that are emerging that have a lot of overlaps in terms of what they're trying to do, right? And a lot of it ties back into the broader enterprise agenda around AI as well, right? So in terms of how do you build governance and governance related archetypes for an AI future, right? And that's really where when we surveyed a lot of our clients, what we observed was over 41% of them were already investing in teams and processes or technologies related to governance so that they can ethically adopt data principles, practices for an AI future, right?
Yeah, and in fact, 92% of the companies we surveyed said that they will actually need to invest significantly in their cleaning and harmonizing of the data to actually be able to use it properly. And that just exhibits so much opportunity that's left for tech providers and others in this entire governance space, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely right. And what we're also seeing is that enterprises are now trying to focus all of that energy to figure out this, vendor ecosystem to create value out of this by creating a new role altogether, right? So increasingly, we are seeing CDOs and CDAOs becoming a really popular role for enterprises. We've seen that almost 35% of most data deals these days are influenced by a CDO, right? And we're also seeing a new set of stakeholders with business folks like, say, CMOs, CFOs, even lines of business leaders being very involved. They don't sign the final check, but they're definitely becoming very involved as influencers in some of these decisions, right? And that again broadly speaks to enterprises' need to figure out value in this entire ecosystem, right? And that's where we are seeing the technology ecosystem also starting to converge. So the entire governance stack, we're starting to see adjacencies between observability platforms and catalogs and MDM solutions and data privacy solutions, right? And the eventual future that a lot of these ecosystem vendors are envisioning is a more unified stack for value, right?
Yeah, and some of these tech providers are actually already minting money out of this opportunity. So Atlant, for example, they had a 5 to 7x revenue increase in just the past 2 years. And then there are other providers like Atacama, Monte Carlo, completely focused on the data governance solutions, and they raised hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. And there is a lot of activity from service providers as well. So tech providers, they lead the innovation cycle, but service providers, they have to act as consultants and advisors to the enterprises and the CDO roles that are emerging. Now, in the past years, we have seen them focusing on a lot of governance focused IPs. Now, while they've always had tools for broader modernization and transformation where the bigger opportunity always lied, the focus is now shifting toward governance. They're also partnering actively with these tech providers. They're leading the curve so that they act as a bridge between tech providers and enterprises. But going forward, service providers will have to shift their narrative even more. It has always been difficult to attach a ROI number to data governance initiatives. And without ROI, there is no business case and hence no funding. To overcome this challenge, I feel service providers will have to take more of a governance first mindset to consultant. For example, if there's a requirement for customer service agent development, now there can be some governance workloads that can actually improve its efficiency and productivity, right?
Yep, absolutely. And what we're also seeing is that at the end of the day, data governance is really a process, right? And wherever there's a process, it's really important for us, an individual to come and orchestrate some of these things, right? And that's really where the services opportunity is also starting to evolve, wherein we are seeing that governance is becoming a strategic differentiator for enterprises, and it's becoming that real new opportunity for service providers to target, right? If you have any other, future questions around governance, how the market is evolving, either as an enterprise, as a technology vendor, or as a service provider, feel free to reach out to us and watch out for our next video on data governance.